The film starts with a young girl swiping some keys. These aren't just any keys, they're for the big gate of a church. It seems like she's trying to escape. She fumbles with the keys at the lock, but before she can get out, she's caught. Just like that, she's locked in a tiny box. When she wakes up, she's scared and yells for help, but nobody hears her cries. Trapped and alone, she sadly dies in that box. Then, we meet Sister Cecilia. She's been moved to a much bigger church. A man picks her up from the train station and takes her there. At the church, a not-so-friendly sister greets her and weirdly says she's pretty. This new church is huge and old. A nice sister named Bella shows Cecilia around, explaining the history of the place and taking her to her room. After showing her everything, Bella leaves. There's another surprise. Another sister is already in Cecilia's room, puffing on a cigarette. The next day, Cecilia gets dressed and joins the other girls to go to church. There, in a special place of worship, a priest puts a locket on her and makes her take a vow promise to never have anything to do with men again. After the weird ceremony, the priest congratulates her. Cecilia assures the priest she'll always work hard. After the ceremony, she heads to the bathroom and hears sobbing. Following the sound, she enters the church to find another sister crying hysterically. But when Cecilia sees the sister's face, she's horrified. Suddenly, the same mean sister from before appears. She pulls a knife out and points it at a statue, saying it looks like the statue has wounds. She tells Cecilia she'll have to do the same to herself with this knife. Needless to say, Cecilia freaks out and faints. When she wakes up, she's furious. But instead of freedom, she finds herself tied up in a room with an old man guarding her. She tries to talk to him, but then two creepy hands come out of the wall behind her and drag her away. She's taken to a place with many other sisters, and they all seem ready to kill her. Thankfully, it's just a nightmare. Cecilia wakes up in her room, shaken and sitting up. She sees a figure, but when she turns on the light, it's gone. Just her imagination. The next day, the bully sister from before is giving a speech to the new arrivals, but Cecilia doesn't understand a word and starts laughing. Bully's sister isn't a fan, and now everyone has to work extra hard on their chores. They clean clothes, eat meals, take care of sick people, and even learn to kill chickens for food. Cecilia can't bring herself to kill a chicken though. Later, while putting away clothes, she sees another sister in the distance. But when she looks back a second later, the sisters vanished. That night, as Cecilia gets ready for bed, a creepy old woman in white appears. With a weapon in her hand, the woman cuts off some of Cecilia's hair. Cecilia, completely freaked out, drags the old woman to a large room and lays her on a bed. In the flickering candlelight, she sees a cross carved on the old woman's feet. Meanwhile, all the other sisters are bathing and getting ready. One of them tells Cecilia she left the world because a man cheated on her. Hearing this, Cecilia feels nauseous, and a check reveals she's pregnant. The priest confronts Cecilia about the pregnancy, but she denies everything, claiming she hasn't even met any men. She's totally confused about what's happening. Despite the situation, the sisters take good care of her. Later, Cecilia's teeth fall out, and a big one pops out from her gums. While bathing, Bella, the seemingly nice sister, tries to drown her. Luckily, Cecilia makes enough noise to attract the other sisters, who save her. A doctor arrives to examine Cecilia, but she begs the priest to let her go to a real hospital. She wants a different doctor's opinion. The priest, however, insists the church is the safest place for her. The next day, Cecilia goes to work at the church. There, another sister jumps from the roof and commits suicide. The fall messes up the nun's face real bad. Shaken by the sight, Cecilia starts to cry. When they take her away, one of the sisters yells from a high place that they should all leave because they'll end up like Bella, the seemingly nice sister. A man appears, grabs the yelling sister, and takes her away. Back in her room, a picture almost falls off the wall. When Cecilia checks it out, she sees writing behind the picture. She can't understand it, so she uses a dictionary to figure it out. The message translates to something about Cecilia being under the influence of demonic power. Determined to escape, Cecilia breaks into a drawer containing her file. Suddenly, she hears screams. Following the sound, she peeks through a gap and sees that the rebellious sister's tongue has been cut out. Horrified, tears stream down Cecilia's face. A white-dressed sister grabs her from behind and shushes her. Cecilia begs for help and says she wants to leave. The sister replies in a chilling whisper, "Those who come here can never leave." The next day, another sister wakes up because Cecilia accidentally covers her face with a shawl. She runs to Cecilia's room, where everyone finds her bleeding heavily. Panicked, the priest throws her in a car and rushes her to the hospital. An old sister secretly picks up the bloodstained cloth, puts it in her mouth, and starts crying. Sister investigates Cecilia's room and finds a dead chicken under the bed. She realizes Cecilia caused her own bleeding to escape. Wei calls the priest, who tells her to stop the car and make Cecilia run. But it's a trap. The priest and another man capture the fleeing Cecilia and take her back to the church. After returning to church, she is tied up. Father shows him a nail-like thing, and takes her to a room where there are premature babies inside big jars. The father takes him further, and there he has the mark of a cross on both his feet. It is heated and applied, and she is again left alone in a room. Cecilia makes a lot of noise to get me out of here, but no one listens to her. After this, she is talking to the father, and during this time she gets her nail torn off. Now she is taken again for ultrasound, where after doing the ultrasound, the doctor tells the sister that I will come right away, you take care of her. Then Cecilia, taking the opportunity, kills this old sister and disfigures her face. After this, she puts an end to this by putting a chain around the father's neck, and after that picks up some things and comes towards the ultrasound room, where she spills oil everywhere. Then suddenly the father comes there, but Cecilia's hands, there is a letter in it, and she is about to light it on fire. The father tells her not to do anything like this. Only the child can save us. Meanwhile, Cecilia's health starts deteriorating, so the father tries to catch her when she gets the chance. But she escapes from the father. She runs away from there after hitting a weapon on her head and tries to lock the door there. But the father catches her by her hair. She lights it on fire with his help. The whole room catches fire. But father still rings the bell and breaks the door and comes to Cecilia. So she runs away from there and comes to a place like a shrine. Father is also behind her, so she hides herself. Celia makes noises. When she looks without touching, she sees a dead body of a girl near her. She gets scared and runs away from there, and finally finds An way out. When she starts going out, she sees him from behind. When the father catches her and starts cutting her stomach, until Cecilia grabs the nail that she concealed and pierces his throat with it, killing the priest for good. And after coming out, she finally gives a painful birth and bites the umbilical cord off. The baby is not seen, but it can be heard emitting an inhuman growling and rasping noise, indicating it is not another Jesus. Cecilia then walks over to grab a large rock, then proceeds to scream before crushing. Right here, and with this film's ends like this. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, then don't forget to subscribe King's Recaps. Till then, see you soon on next upcoming video.